Here's a topic that I think has flown under the radar. I don't want to bring attention to it negatively, but I would have addressed this if I knew what was going on when it happened. Have you guys heard of this Andrew Huberman controversy? Do you guys know who Andrew Huberman is? So most people know Andrew Huberman for his podcast. He's a professor at Stanford, but he's most popularly known for his podcast. He's a neuroscientist, and he has a lot of great content. I've binged hours and hours of Andrew Huberman. I enjoy his content. Very popular, very good stuff. He goes into depth with a lot of topics that have to do with wellness. But as of late, the media has tried to expose the guy because there's some type of article that was released by New York Times that painted him as this guy who has a persona online of wellness, and he's trying to help people, but in secret and in the dark is a womanizer. You might ask, how did this come along? Well, it all began with a single mother. No, I kid you not. Some single mother of two pretty much started to investigate their relationship, which she is mad because he was unclear with where he stood based on his actions. But according to her, he was leading her on, telling her that they were in an exclusive relationship, but not really. And she found out that there was one other woman involved in the situation. And then at this point, though, they're not in a relationship, but she's still digging and finds out that there's another woman, and then finds out there's another woman. By the way, she found this out by reading his journal or something like this. Finds out there's another woman and 5 women in total. Now I'll get on the phone and start talking about how they're all being manipulated because he doesn't want to take any of them seriously. And they're using this to discredit him as a neuroscientist and are hoping that this will turn people's taste in him sour. Here's a video that kind of explains it a lot better than I will. No more wasting time. Let's get it.
Today, New York Magazine ran a hit piece on Andrew Huberman. Andrew Huberman is a neurobiologist from Stanford who has gotten famous over the last couple of years because he has helped millions of people get healthy. Now, the hit piece was not about how he's convinced millions of Americans to quit drinking alcohol, or how he's explained the dangers of using tobacco, or how he's explained the importance of exercise, or how he's disseminated the information of how getting sunlight in your eyes and regulating your circadian rhythm is crucial for your health. Rather, the hit piece is about his private life. They dig into his private life and his relationships with women. They do this to try to frame Andrew Huberman in a negative light. I think this is extremely disgusting, and let me know if you agree with me on this. What Andrew Huberman does in his public life is he puts out a podcast and he puts out tons of information on how to improve your health. And let me know below if Andrew Huberman has helped your health in any way, because he certainly has helped mine. Once that flame starts to burn very bright, they have no other choice. They have nothing to attack but his personal life. It is insane to me that they ran this piece, and it seems to me they're just trying to tear down somebody who has helped so many people with their health. Me personally, I don't care what Andrew Huberman does in his private life. I can watch any podcast I want, and I choose to watch his because it contains really valuable information about subjects that I am interested in. I am not going to this guy for relationship advice or how I should treat women in my private life, and he doesn't talk about that. I think it's disgusting what we do nowadays, prying apart people's private lives. And I really question why New York Magazine would run this piece. Most of the funding for mainstream media comes from the pharmaceutical industry. It also comes from processed food companies. Right below that is alcohol companies. Here you have somebody who has gained fame and gained millions of listeners. And what does he say? Eat real food, don't drink alcohol, tobacco's bad for you. And he is making a giant impact. He's sold out an arena in Australia. Consumers are beginning to vote with their dollar. And when something becomes such a big threat to their bottom line, they will do what they need to do to destroy that person. So I stand with Dr. Huberman. Let me know if you do below. Keep in mind that he has broke no laws. All the stuff that they said in his personal life, there's no laws being broken. All honestly,
Right.
it seems like he's a 6'4" jack scientist who just couldn't really handle a lot of the women that were being thrown his way. And to write a hit piece about him is just despicable, in my opinion, when he has.
Hold on, Andrew Huberman is 6'4"? Come on, you telling me that he's these women are begging. Hold on. How tall is? Oh, okay. But he says 6'1", but he doesn't look that tall when I see photos of him on his IG. Without fail, guys, without fail, they will try to use women to bring a man down if all fails. Do you guys see the pattern?
Has helped millions of people get healthy. Let me know what you think about this, and if you support Andrew Huberman below, or if he's helped you get healthy in any way, shape, or form, leave your story below, because I think this is disgusting. New York Magazine, you are trash.
New York Magazine is trash. This isn't the first time they've done this. I think they did something similar with Johnny Depp. I think. Let me see. They might have done the same thing with Johnny Depp. Anyways, I don't know if that's for sure or not, so I don't want to put that on record. But I'll say this, guys. I have said this so many times, and I will continue to say this. We live in a world right now where people want to pretend that relationships are black and white. We live in a world where we act like things lack nuance. Somebody who's dating and is also in the public spotlight is very vulnerable to our modern way of canceling and ruining people's reputations. A lot of people expect a lot of these public figures to be blameless men. Think about it. Look at the Shannon Sharp situation. I was saying, I think Shannon Sharp, when the rumors started coming out of him being gay, and I said, listen, we have to stop doing this. Every time a black man rises to prominence in the spotlight, people want to put him in the gay category. We have to stop doing this. And I'll see men do this as well. And the problem with that is it's hard for people to just allow somebody to just be great. It's all hate. And it's driven by people in the background who do not like whatever progress that person's making. In Huberman's case, he's going against alcohol companies. He's going against pharmaceutical companies. Oh, yeah. And then you have like the Shannon Sharp situation where I was saying, good thing he's not married, but then it also taught me that, like, if you're not married, then you're gay. If they're not going to call you gay, and you are married, then you're down low, or you have like a beard. And if you're single dating, you're a womanizer. We live in a gynocentric society where if in your life you're not treating women the way they feel like they deserve to be treated, if you're hurting women's feelings because you're deciding to just not get married and do the traditional thing and put a ring on it and just date, you are now vulnerable to people looking at you and saying, well, why isn't he married? Why is he just dating? Why doesn't he settle down? I don't get why a man like that wouldn't want to marry modern women since they're so great. It's ridiculous, bro. And it's such a predictable play. I see guys all the time saying things like, oh, when I get married, I would never be caught up in this, or I would never date multiple women. And I tell you, like, bro, you have no idea because you are not there. And guys do not understand this. When you reach certain levels of fame and popularity, women are throwing themselves at you. I'm saying this because I'm showing you a guy right now who doesn't believe or really doesn't care, even if they are true. Same here. I don't give an F what Huberman's doing. As long as he's not doing something illegal, and in that case, we're still going to need proof. I don't give an F. But I'm telling you, man, these guys who are white knighting for the women, and I've seen other videos of guys being like, how dare he? How dare he treat women like that? How dare he date multiple women and not choose one? What if he's just dating? And they think they would handle it differently. People really think that if they were in the spotlight and they had beautiful women left and right throwing themselves at them, in this world where most people overestimate everything about themselves, their ability to fight, how great they are, they don't think they're going to overestimate just how loyal they're going to be when women are literally throwing themselves at a man because he is of high status. Guys, we can sit here and pretend like all these conversations about male, female nature and this and that. Oh, they're toxic. Oh, this doesn't apply to real life. Yes, it does. It applies. Don't think that you wouldn't be open to attacks that are completely unreasonable like this if you were in this man's shoes. If no one knew who he was, no one would care. If no one knew who he was, no one would care. If he wasn't 6'1" over here, enjoying himself with women, no one would care. It's that he's happy, he's leveraging, right, his status, which he's worked for. You should do it. Every man does it. Guys, I literally saw the top comment in a recent video that he did. The top comment were women who were pretty much saying like, I'll be your 6th girlfriend. I'll be your 10th girlfriend. And they were just all going over and over again. They're like, pick me, pick me. That's the reality of Andrew Huberman's life. And to act like he's not allowed to date and that discredits all the information that he's shared and how he's helped many people out here is ridiculous. And if you take anything from what I've said, guys, if you're entering a relationship, be real with yourself, man. Be real with yourself. Know that you don't know exactly what it's like to be in the spotlight and have women throwing themselves at you. This is not me saying that you should take advantage of that, especially if you're in a relationship. But chances are, bro, you probably overestimate your ability to resist and do the right thing and be faithful. It's the same thing with people who be like, oh man, look at Drake, dating all these women and blah, 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 blah. If it was me, please. Let's see your DMs, bro. Let's see the most beautiful women who you watch every day and jack off to hitting you up like Drake, and let's see you turning them down. And I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying people talk shit like they would be so much better and they would have handled the situation a little bit better. Nah. And you guys know I go as far as to say, and this is controversial, if you're getting married today, make sure you have the conversation of what would you do if I cheated and I stepped out? Understand. And after being real with yourself. Ideally, I tell you, make sure that you find yourself a good wife willing to work through infidelity. Not repeated cheating, not having babies out of wedlock, not coming back with disease and all this stuff, not embarrassing the person publicly. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it happened. Is it something you can work through? And people also want to act like people don't work through this shit when they do every day. You're only going to get coffee here on this podcast. Thank God this man isn't married, because who knows the lengths that they're willing to go to maybe use a wife or, rip up his family. It's just crazy what people are willing to do today to smear somebody's name. What would your exes have to say about you if they went back and bribed them to talk about how much of an a-hole you were? Let's check out some comments. First comment here says, this is an incredibly pathetic defense of Huberman. And so here you have people who are upset at Andrew Huberman. Somebody else here says, Huberman's podcast is merely a sales funnel for his overpriced pseudo supplements. Anyone in advertising can see right through his BS. And so remember that this is TikTok, where I'm actually reading these comments. And if you actually go onto Huberman's platform, all the people that follow him are pretty much like, hey, we're glad that you're ignoring the stories. We're glad that you're not giving anything any time and attention. We support you. Here's somebody else who says, it's taught me a lot. It seems like so many people who become successful have a dark area of their life. Every person has a dark area of their life, man. You are no better. We're human beings. And what's so dark about having relationships and women confused thinking that they belong to you when they actually don't? Goes on to say, it's teaching us to not idolize anybody. Don't idolize anybody. Do not idolize anybody. Here's somebody else who says, in Huberman we trust. It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. Do I have anything else to go with this? Let me see. Trying to see if I had any. I think here, let me play you guys this clip I saw. Should I play this? F it. Let's check out some counterpoints to this angry chick. Here we go.
I just devoured this New York Magazine article, Andrew Huberman's Mechanism of Control. I have been a Huberman podcast fan. I've been a fan of him. I've known him personally for many years. I will never refer anyone to his podcast ever again. I don't care how good it is. I don't care who his guest is. I don't care how right he is. I don't care how helpful he is. I will never send anyone to him again, because I will not support a man who treats women like this. And if you are a woman, you might say, I don't care. I like his information. But when some guy does this to you, you might then care. And you might then ask yourself, why am I continuing to support a man who treats women like this? And if you're a man who says, I don't care how he behaves in his personal life, he has good info, then you're probably one of the guys running around yelling, not all men.
Oh my goodness. Selective outrage. Selective outrage. Let's not forget that we listen and support artists who live highly toxic lives. You've got like Ariana Grande over there, who are probably in these women's favorite tracks, like playlists, who goes around sleeping with other women's husbands, breaking up families. But no, we forgive it. Why? Because she's a woman. Because she's a woman. If another man did that, then women will be trying to stand up and refuse to listen to that man's music. And the whole idea of, oh, your professional life does not match your real life. It's even more difficult to understand in the case of Huberman, because he doesn't talk about relationships. I can see people, even in the perspective of myself, right? If someone said like, oh, they found out that in secret I'm a raging feminist and married to a modern woman, etc. I could see people like, oh my gosh, this, that, you know. I could even expect people to be a bit upset if they found out that cheating happened with me. I'll be like, okay, I understand, even though I encourage men to make sure they get marriages where they'll be able to work through that. I can just write that off as when I said it, you didn't believe me, and that's your fault, right? That has nothing to do with me. At least then I might be able to see what you're actually upset about. In this case right here of Andrew Huberman, where he doesn't even talk about relationships, for them to go find something completely unrelated to his focus, does he talk about relationships and touch on the subjects? I'm sure he does lightly, but they're not the focus of his podcasts. They're not. So this reaction to me is even more bullshit and surprising. My final point is, think of all the doctors that women like this right here go listen to, who are health experts, but also happen to be overweight, also happen to not have a proper diet, drink a bunch of alcohol, etc. We've accepted the fact that doctors don't have to live up to their knowledge. That would make more sense to be upset about. What I think is really happening here are public figures and celebrity have now transitioned from being people we watch on screen and don't really know on a personal level. You know, when somebody's on the screen, back in the day when you saw him on his TV, you really didn't feel like you knew that person the same way you do that than podcasts that you're subscribed to. It's a lot more personal. The relationships are a lot more intimate. And that also may be what's fueling the reaction here. You can't please feminist women. You can't, especially, you just can't, bro. You can't. In some way, I also think that every podcast goes to this moment where you kind of filter out the people who really support you and the people who are there because they like some of what you have to say. But I think to build a strong brand, it's good to go through something where people are kind of split and you get to see who's really loyal. It's just better that way. At least I appreciate that when someone's like, oh my gosh, I'm unsubscribing. Like, oh, perfect. Great. You know, I'm not interested in trying to prove myself, or because when it comes to sharing your opinion, you're going to offend people, and that's just how it goes. All right. So guys, I think I'm just going to end it right there. I might do another segment here of what's brewing, because I got some other topics that I'm thinking of touching on too. Let me know what you guys think. I'm curious to know what you guys thought of this segment. Comment down below. As always, I appreciate you guys for checking out yet another episode of What's Brewing. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.